There's the filthy capitalist option, as Sori says. 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and you get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at insecurity@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Yep. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/VinandSori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy merch.
Buy merch indeed. A child shall lead them.
To buy our merch.
Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener. Hopefully you can hear us. This is an emergency. It's an emergency, whatever.
A live stream broadcast coming to you.
Apparently,
with a new song.
The band Metallica has come out with a new song, and we're going to be among the first to review it. All right, here it is. The name of the song is Screaming Su1cide by Metallica. We're getting into it right now. Let's go. by the band Metallica. Hopefully we didn't get completely and totally blocked.
Strikes.
Struck, whatever. Usually we don't do official songs, official videos, because as you noticed, we don't cut videos, dear Lucas. Speaking of which,
that puts us in a particular situation.
Speaking of baby formula,
smooth transition.
If you or anybody you know and love needs baby formula, check us out, Amazon.com. All you gotta do is type Fuji in the thingy, Foodgie. That is my son's nickname, Fuji. Fuji Kuj. Or Soraya is gonna put the thing in the thing, so
the link in the description of this video.
The link will be in the description of the video. Okay. Having said that, let us check out this song lyrically. Okay, so what did you think overall about the song overall?
Oh, it was really heavy. I liked the energy that they were putting out in it. I'm glad that we were able to see the official video, because a lot of times we don't get that luxury. So that was cool to see him really like putting out there. Was the song about, like, when it said, "Don't ever speak my name, remember you're to blame, keep me inside, my name is suicide"? It's literally somebody battling with thoughts of suicide.
Yeah, I'm trying to get to the lyrics myself.
Yeah, they're up on Genius, so they're not too far. Not too far.
Okay, so what were you saying now?
So this song is about somebody battling thoughts of suicide, but it seems like in the end they win. Is that now you face your biggest fear?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know
Not
if he's...
win, but like...
No, I see where you're going. I don't know if he's like trying to incarnate as suicide, because it says, never keep me inside, my name is suicide.
Yeah.
So he's incarnating as suicide itself. You see what I'm saying? They personified suicide as a person.
Yes, I understood that.
And so that's what's going on. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, okay, so we got struck. We got blocked. Can you go to the YouTube page? Which I was figuring was going to happen, but
but I thought we slipped through the cracks. Hold on.
Yeah, well, it's Metallica.
Yeah.
So it's okay. It wasn't a hard strike, and then we can contest it and we're going to win because it's Metallica.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. So I think lyrically he was suicide as the character. Like the character itself, he is suicide.
Yeah, the character is.
So welcome to this life, born into the fight, here to claim your dream, look you in the eye, patch the broken sky. Craving dopamine, then my voice appears, teaching you of fears. Are you good enough? You didn't recognize your head is full of lies. You should just give up. Listen well, better listen well. And then it goes into the chorus. Don't ever speak my name. Remember, you're to blame. Keep me inside. My name is suicide. So he is talking as suicide in the song, which really it's interesting because Hetfield just got out of another. I mean, I'm saying just. It might have been a year ago now, but he's been in and out of rehab. Almost
really?
All of his like. For the last, 20 years, he's done a couple of rehab stints, which is pretty interesting, considering, like, he still talks about the fear of not being good enough even in this song, which is really fascinating. It's like, dude, you're a legend. You're in probably the greatest metal band of all time.
Yeah.
But you still feel like you're not good enough. It was really interesting. And then I was listening to him talk one time, and he was talking about how he was insecure because he can't play like he used to play when he was young. Because like when you play really heavy shit, like you get fatigued, you get tired.
I bet, yeah.
And it's like, wow, dude, like it doesn't matter how far you get, how elevated everything is. It doesn't matter. Like, there's always gonna be something to be insecure about. Yep. If you can't figure that, if you can't figure that out, there will always be something to be insecure about. And it makes you think about like, and sometimes people are so good at converting that pain into something that's celebratory, that they almost get celebrated for it. So, like, for example, you know, Brady's famous for not getting drafted till the 6th round. So it's like 100+ players went ahead of me and all that. And it's like, he carried that around with him even after he won Super Bowls. It's like, dude, doesn't matter.
It
like,
was a motivator for him.
Yeah, he still can. Yeah, and then same thing with Michael Jordan. Like, anytime anybody said anything or whatever, you know, there was this one story where Michael Jordan, like, just basically made up a statement that a guy made. He said, I'm going to have to drop 50 on this guy because he was talking all this shit, blah, blah, blah. And sure enough, Jordan drops 50 on him. So then they go to the guy and they said, yo, what's wrong with you? And the guy said, I never said that.
I never said it.
Never once. And then, you know, they looked it up and sure enough, he hadn't said it, you know? So it's like feeling that.
Some people need that, though, like that motivator. That's what.
Yeah, but people who are driven, like that extraordinarily driven, a lot of times it has to do with a really deep sense of insecurity. A lot of times, like, people who are really driven and are high achievers, a lot of, like, externally it's like, oh my god, this guy is a, you know, covered in a shell of ego.
Yeah.
When in reality, a lot of times it's because they're terrified. Like, I remember one time very specifically, like, overhearing a member of my family telling another member of my family, you don't want to be like this guy. He's going to work in 7-Eleven for the rest of his life. And, like, that stuck with me for years, like 10, 15 years after the fact. Like, I had an insane work ethic. Like, I had a crazy work ethic. Like, I wouldn't take breaks, wouldn't take lunches. I mean,
because of that comment getting made?
Oh, yeah. Like, that had I mean, obviously, I had a wife and kid to support at the time. Yeah. Obviously, but, like, yeah, that whole, that narrative hanging over my head and having to disprove that was a big part of what was motivating me professionally.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I had to make sure that I was earning more than my brothers, like, so I could really be like, well, everybody went to school except for me, and look, here I am making, you know, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so it was a really, if you don't have that internal sort of understanding for your own self-worth, if you let your self-worth get determined by other people, like, that is a major driver of suicide. The reason is because you can never please anybody. It's like, oh, you're not good enough as a guitar player, then you get into a band. Oh, well, your band sucks, then your band gets signed. Well, your band is, like, not really a big band, then you become a headlining band. Well, you know, then you become an all-timer. And then it's like, well, you're not as good as you used to be. So, like, there will always be an argument. Yeah. There will always be an argument for why you don't measure up to everybody's standards. And if you get caught in that cycle of feeling good when people think well of you and feeling bad when people think well of you, absolutely drive you to suicide, because people are vultures, man. We're cannibals. We love to consume other people. So if you're gonna make your well-being, if you're gonna hold your well-being hostage to the good thoughts of other people, you're in a lot of trouble. You're in a lot of trouble, and that's a major driver of suicide, in my opinion. Especially when you look at, you know, children and parents, for it be a big one, you know.
Yeah, and I mean, you look at the stress level that a lot of teenagers are under that are in public school, and that's because obviously they care a lot about the opinions of their peers.
Right.
And so, I mean, when we look at that in teenagers and we can recognize that as unhealthy behavior, well, it's even more unhealthy for somebody our age to do that. Like, we got to let those things go and stop letting other people's opinions of us be the determiner of our mental well-being.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. And then he says lyrically here,
he was getting real heavy in here.
Yeah, terrified in sleepless nights, caught in spotlight, dead to rights, isolate and fight your mind, telling you you're left behind. My lying voice inside keeps drinking cyanide, and no more can you run into the sun. There it is again. People talking about a mind inside of their mind, or a voice inside of their head. But notice it's a voice that's related to him, that's separate from him simultaneously, because it says, my lying voice inside. So again, the question is, what part of him knows that another part of him is lying? Mm-hmm. Think about that. So there's a part of his mind that knows that there's another part of his mind that's lying. Mm-hmm. Or you could say there's a personality in his mind that knows that there is another personality that is lying to him, which is very fascinating because think about what that means. Lying is a very complex operation. What does lying mean? Lying means, number one, that you know what the truth is. Right? And what is truth? Truth is whatever corresponds to reality. Okay. So lying means that the being that's lying, knows what the truth is. Secondly, it means that the being that's lying has an agenda. There's a reason it wants you to view reality differently. Mm-hmm. And number three, it means that it's intelligent enough to communicate in such a way as to get you to believe something distorted about reality. Okay, you're saying that complex operation is happening inside of you, but that you are aware enough to know that there's some personality inside of you that's doing that complex operation. That is insane.
Yeah.
If we really break these things down and see what we're actually saying, that's pretty insane. That's pretty crazy to me. So, and the content of the lie, I'm assuming, is remember you're to blame, and then you're gonna get left behind. Which again, it's like, dude, you're James Hetfield.
Well, it said,
why would you worry about that?
Are you good enough? You don't recognize head full of lies, so you should give up. So maybe it was just a bunch of negative self-talk was the lies.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, that's what you got? Okay.
And the negative self-talk would be, remember you're to blame, and then isolate and fight your mind, telling you you're left behind. Mm-hmm. So the lies are blame and you're going to get left behind. And you're like, okay, that's something that all of us can relate to.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Blame assumes that something bad happened.
Yep.
And you're the reason that the bad thing happened, which is one of the reasons why people have such a hard time admitting that they're wrong, because nobody wants to be the cause of bad things happening. But the thing about and the way people respond to that is to say, yep, so that makes us feel bad, and so the answer to that is to stop blaming yourself for bad things. But it's like, yeah, but what if you truly are the reason?
Then what? Right, exactly.
What if you actually did something blameworthy? So the defense mechanism or the healing mechanism of saying, well, no, I'm not responsible for that. That doesn't work.
Right.
When you're by yourself. So
you are responsible for that.
You exactly. That's one of the reasons I think that Macbeth, the story of Macbeth from Shakespeare, was such a powerful, enduring story. It's because that concept of guilt and how do you rectify your guilt, and what do you do with guilt, and what do you do with the things that you would have done differently had you had another opportunity to do them differently.
Yeah.
And confronting that, and then dealing with the reality that you cannot get away from those things. That's why I think that song endures. But what our culture has done is or that play, what we've done is that we've said anything that makes you feel bad, you should deny.
Yep.
Right? So if you did this bad thing and it then results in a horrible situation that you now regret, you're supposed to walk around and say, I have no regrets because it made me the person I am today, or whatever people say. Ridiculous! There are multiple ways I could have been the person that I could have been without, a lot of the dumb shit that I did when I was a kid. You know what I'm saying? It's just a ridiculous... Yeah. But again, that's what happens when people are have a worldview where you're supposed to feel good all the time. Well, no, regret is there. Regret is important. It protects other people from your crazy bad decisions if you can learn from it, and it also will protect you from bad decisions that you made that resulted in destruction. And sometimes the regret is being around a person that you shouldn't have been around. So if you say, oh, I have no regrets, great. Then the next time you run into a toxic person, you're going to make the same stupid mistake because you didn't regret the last one.
Yeah.
Like, so regrets and things like that are important to embrace as part of your story, like who you are.
There's something to learn
person.
from it. That's right. The thing. If you can learn the lesson from it, then you won't repeat it. And if you can gain some level of understanding about yourself or other people from situations, then the situations aren't completely lost. But if you just, a situation pops off and then you have so much guilt and shame of the situation that you just bury it and you won't actually try to work through it in your mind and say, okay, what led me to that choice? How did I get there? Why did I make that choice instead of making this choice? And like trying to work through the reasons for why we're doing the things and recognize where our weaknesses lie. And then from that point, then we can make better decisions. But
yeah,
but you're right. A lot of people, we want to run from anything that makes us feel like shame or guilt or regret. All those things kind of mess with us. But the more that we can embrace them, the more we can learn from, and then we can just move past them and recognize that they were just stepping stones along the way.
Well, or recognize that we were horrible people. Like, but see, this is one of the advantages that we have, in our religion that says that everybody starts out as a sinner.
Yep.
So it's like if everybody starts out as a sinner, then it's just a matter of time before my particular sin gets revealed, and it's like, oh, that's the way that you're, it's like Peterson said, that's the way you're screwed up. But
right. If
you don't have a worldview that can account simultaneously for human evil and human value, then you're going to get these weird sort of defense mechanisms. Like, so now we're going to say, oh, we have no regrets or whatever, and basically be a sociopath because you can do all this horrible shit to people and not feel bad about it. But then on the other side, it's like, well, yeah, but how do we account for our own evil without being completely crushed by guilt?
Right.
And so because we don't know how to do that, how to walk that line, how to square those contradictions, we fall off on either way. You have the hyper take responsibility people, which is like blame yourself for everything. It's all your fault. Or you have the quasi sociopath people, which says don't take accountability for anything, so you don't have to feel bad. It's like, okay, you won't feel bad. It'll just so happen that you keep ending up in bad situations because you can't learn from what you're supposed to feel.
And you can't avoid that forever. You can't avoid not feeling bad forever.
Right.
It's gonna come out somewhere. It's gonna reveal itself. And that's the worst of all feelings is when you feel like shit and you don't know why. So you're better off just to deal with whatever it is now instead of burying it.
You might as well deal with that shit, bro.
Right, because if you're just going to bury it, then you don't know what it is, and now you feel like you're going on, all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute, it's been years, I've been miserable for years, why am I like this? What did you bury?
One of my strategies is
maybe you're sick because of your secrets.
One of my strategies as a parent is one of my main goals is to make sure the kids know they're loved unconditionally. And like, obviously there's the emotional side of that, but there's a very, very practical side of that as a parent and just as a human being. When people know that they're loved unconditionally and they truly believe it in their bones, it is easier to accept your own shortcomings. It's easier to accept your own flaws. Because the people outside of you are projecting to you, yes, you have flaws, but you're loved unconditionally. So, like a lot of it is, even outside of this home, I want them to have that mentality that I could screw up, but I'm loved unconditionally. Obviously, that can be abused, and that can be, it can get dangerous. But that's one of the main. There's about 2 or 3 things I want my kids to have. And that's like a main thing that I have. I want to make sure that they understand that. Because I truly believe that that question, am I loved deeply and truly? Am I known and am I loved? Those 2 questions to me are the sum total of everything human beings have ever tried to do ever. And so it's like, if you can convince a person that they're fully known and fully loved, that has massive implications.
Absolutely does.
Because to be fully known also means my flaws included. So if love can survive knowledge, then you're set. Right? And so if my kids are walking around feeling that they're known and loved and that the love survives knowledge, then you're going to be a much more whole human being. See what I'm saying? But if you're walking around and you're unsure about being loved, and you're unsure that anybody truly knows you and sees you and accepts you completely, then you're going to be a massively defensive person. You're going to be extremely defensive in that situation because you're trying to project something out of yourself that you feel is valuable enough to love. And so because you're not loved unconditionally in your mind, that also means then that you can't make yourself completely known. You're going to only project those things about yourself that you think are valuable enough to love, because that's what we all want. So it's clear from that vantage point why people would ideate suicidology in that situation. Like, it's just it makes you wonder how people stick around so long as they did. You know what I'm saying? As a non-believer, so to speak, am raising a Christian almost 13-year-old. Well, there you go. That's very fascinating. Okay, what did you give this song?
I really like this one a lot. I thought they came with a lot of energy. I felt like that they kept it. It didn't feel like it was something from years ago. Like, I felt like they came with the energy today.
Definitely more modern.
So I'm a 9.8. 9.8.
This one's getting a solid 9.2 for me. It was decent. But it's Metallica. I was expecting like, Wah! It was okay. It's decent. All right, there you go, dear listener. Wanted to brighten your day on was this Thursday or Friday? On a Thursday.
Thursday.
On a Thursday. Much love to all you beautiful people.